I read an article about Naomi Osaka's semifinal versus Elise Mertens at the Cincinnati Open was canceled because Naomi wants to protest racial injustice with Black Lives Matter. Okay, first of all, you chose to represent Japan, and you didn't want to have anything to do with America, so why are you being a social justice warrior for American social issues like this Black Lives Matter movement that's going on in America? Like, you want to be a black woman when it's convenient for you to be so. I don't see you trying to correct the Japanese people who try to portray you as a light-skinned mixed woman or trying to erase your blackness in the media. I don't see you trying to have a voice on bringing up issues with Japan's blatant colorism against you and being prejudiced against black people in general in that country. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Like, what does this Black Lives Matter movement have to do with tennis? You're an athlete. I'm tired of this Black Lives Matter movement, this crap being in line with women's tennis and sports in general. Naomi's trying to bring the NBA's woke awareness to women's tennis. It seems to me that Naomi is trying to appear woke and appeal to the blacks on Twitter sphere. That's not tennis's core audience. It's Europeans. Since tennis players, male and female, are mostly Europeans, that's tennis's core audience. And I'm sure Europeans don't care about America's Black Lives Matter movement. I'm black and I don't care about the Black Lives Matter movement. I only care about tennis. That's it. You see, this is what's happening to sports. She's playing the Cincinnati Open, the lead into the US Open next week. Then we have Naomi Osaka wanting to make a political statement and causing the tournament to be shut down for a day. And it's unfair to the other 3 women players and the other 4 male players to lose time on the court over her wanting to selfishly halt gameplay for Black Lives Matter. And wanting to make a SJW statement like, I'm a black woman. Okay then, why did you choose to play for Japan? A country that has less than 1% black representation in that country. And Japanese society is prejudiced against the little black people that do live over there. No one cares. That's all us tennis fans care about is tennis. We want to see you competing at a competitive level. That's all us tennis fans care about. Then we have these athletes like Naomi trying to get woke with Black Lives Matter in that Jacob Blake shooting. And what does that have to do with tennis? Unless the shooting happened on a tennis court, then it has nothing to do with tennis. And yet, time and time again, I hate how sports is being taken over by Black Lives Matter SJW athletes. Like, that's why I'm not watching the NBA right now, because of the social justice warrior virtue signaling. Like, no one is watching the NBA right now because they want to have a political stance. This is tennis. This tournament is more so practice for you to prepare yourself for the US Open, a major slam. That's the most important pinnacle of a tennis player's career, is playing in the 4 slams out of every year. Then you want to blow that by protesting with Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, and I'm a black woman and a black guy just got shot by a white cop. Yeah, but what does that have to do with you, Miss Osaka, who chose to represent Japan? You're a Japanese woman. What does that have to do with you? And that's where my issue is coming from with this. Black Lives Matter protesting has no place in sports. I'm tired of this. We are finally getting sports back after China released COVID onto the world, but now we're having our sports yet once again interrupted with social justice warrior athletes protesting with Black Lives Matter. In my honest opinion, Black Lives Matter is a trash, racist organization group because they choose to focus on racist white cops. They're out here killing and shooting us, but yet they want to ignore all the black-on-black homicides and black-on-black violence against blacks in the black community. That's what they ignore. And that's like the main criticism of Black Lives Matter. That's why Black Lives Matter is a joke. J-O-K-E, joke. You have an obligation to go out there and represent for your country, which is Japan, Miss Naomi Osaka, but yet you want to align yourself with American issues. The only issue I have is with these criminals. Yes, that's who y'all are burning up y'all cities for in protest and are going out committing crimes, and the police are trying to do their jobs and taking the appropriate measures when these criminals start resisting arrest. Because if they were at home and not on the streets committing crimes, then they never would have been shot in the first place. He walked away from those police officers because it was revealed he had an open warrant out for his arrest. And he got into his car, which had a knife in it. He had a weapon in his car. It looks like he was reaching for something to the police officer, and in my opinion, took the appropriate action. If he hadn't done anything wrong, then he wouldn't have felt the need to be evasive against police. But we all know why this transpired. You see, that's what these social justice warrior, Black Lives Matter protesters that are tearing up their cities for these criminals need to realize, that police have no authority over you. If you're not committing a crime or doing something that's breaking the law, then the police have no control over you. Not all white police officers are racist whites. They're out there to get blacks. They're out there to serve and protect the public. Most of the people who Black Lives Matter are burning up their cities for are criminals. Most of these people are out there committing crimes. Like that George Floyd career criminal, he was committing a crime. He was trying to purchase merchandise with a counterfeit $20 bill. That's a crime in America. And he had the cops call on him for attempting to do so. And we all know what unfolded with that. So that's what I'm talking about. If you're not committing any crimes, you are abiding by the law, then you have no reason to fear police. Most of these men the police are shooting are thugs and criminals. They are menaces to society. Like that movie, Menace to Society, that's what these type of people are. And every person who commits a violent crime and the police shoot, I feel no sympathy for. I feel like that's one less person on the street that's going to victimize me or someone else who's innocent. Because that George Floyd criminal loser was convicted of a crime of home invasion and burglary while a woman was at home. So that could have been me, because I live in Houston, and this happened when he lived in Houston at the time. So he could have randomly committed a crime against me. So be gone with them. So these black thug career criminals, if they wasn't committing a crime, then they would have never been accosted by police. So I feel if Naomi wants to align herself with Black Lives Matter, then she's aligned herself with these criminals and thugs that are making urban cities in America the crime-ridden trash that they are now. Miss Naomi Osaka, you're a Japanese woman and athlete who's representing Japan. That's what you're representing. What does Black Lives Matter have to do with you? Just because you're a black woman, half Haitian, half Japanese, like, you have nothing to do with America. The only thing American about you is your accent and you being completely Americanized. You could have chosen to represent America, but you chose Japan because she knew she would get more opportunities, like marketing opportunities and more sponsor money for representing Japan. That's all that was. And by the way, why don't you give back all the millions of dollars of sponsor money from all these white sponsors who support you, Miss Osaka? Why don't you do that? You didn't even want to represent America, so why are you aligning yourself with what's going on in America? You don't see any of these European tennis players playing over here during protests with what's going on in America right now, because it has nothing to do with them. Like, it has nothing to do with you. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm tired of my sports being overrun with this Black Lives Matter narrative bull crap. This is bull crap. And someone on Naomi's team should be telling her, like, no, you need to be focusing on tennis. Okay, you're a 2-time slam champion. No, you need to be focusing on what's going on the court and not politics. And not trying to be a social justice warrior for Black Lives Matter. You are an athlete. That's all you should be worrying about is athletics. Politics have nothing to do with sports and you. That's what someone on her team should be telling her. And that's what she should be telling herself. You should be focusing on tennis and leaving your legacy, because athletes' professional careers are short, and what they leave is their sports legacy. That's all they have. That's what you should be focusing on, is your tennis legacy, with winning more slams like this upcoming US Open, and not political matters. But I guess no one on her team is telling her anything or afraid to say anything to her or encouraging her to be a social justice warrior for Black Lives Matter. Now that's ridiculous. In every sense of the word, ridiculous. Sports is finally back, and I want to watch sports. I want to watch athletes competing at the highest level, not trying to be woke. I'm not a person that's into politics. I love sports. I love tennis. Tennis is my second favorite sport. Well, basketball, the NBA was my first, but since they want to be all Black Lives Matter, we woke over here. No, I turned it off. I don't care. And people around the world are turning off the NBA. No one cares. Go out there and play. You're a multi-millionaire athlete. You are pampered and privileged. If America is such a racist country, then why don't you give back the trophy you won at the US Open, Miss Naomi Osaka? Why don't you give back all the millions of dollars in prize money you earned from winning a sport dominated by whites, Miss Naomi Osaka? WTA is an American tennis organization founded by a white woman and predominantly run by whites. So why don't you give back all the prize money you won on the WTA tour, Miss Naomi Osaka? Since America is so racist and you want to bring awareness to racism in America, why don't you put your money where your mouth is? Or else shut up and play sports, not politics. And that's my thoughts on this. Count a bunch of roads!